So the topic I wanted to talk about as well were four things, right? Four things that will affect your investments in 2026, right? 2025 was dominated by mining stocks, by gold stocks. They were up, JSE. Most of the returns they were carried by EM mining companies, right? Um, of course, in America there were technology companies and things like that. But here in South Africa, our version of technological stocks, I would think, is our mining companies. Dare I say, right? So that's number one. So where we at? The first thing, I think, the first thing are elections, right? Four things that will determine or affect your investments in 2026 are elections. So siyavota this year, siyavota. Ngabe seniyazi nje. I hope niyavota. Asahambe siyovota. I hope niyazi ngomaphuzu ekhemishi. Asahambe siyovota. Yeah, we're voting this year. So 2026 elections. So there's that. I don't know. We saw what happened with the ANC the last time Savota, right? GNC, Global Government of National Unity, which was a facade, right? Sonke siyazi ukuthi yenzelwani, babefake. Kodwa-ke ngesigxile lapha, asikho lapha. So we will see whether GNC continues or not, right? Is the DA still down to work with the ANC? Especially now, sort of like the world is becoming more volatile than ever, and almost everyone has to plead their allegiance. Ukuthi bahamba nobani. Because if America is sunning everyone and bullying everyone like this, you have to wonder where does the DA stand? Because yakhumbula last year, was it last year or 2024? DA, the time kuzoba ne-BRICS summit here in South Africa, bethi ANC yayibopha uPutin, right? Bethi ANC yayibopha uPutin, and the ANC is on the side of Putin, right? Because the DA is on the side of quote-unquote Americans. We saw what happened uRamaphosa behamba beyoncenga principal office isiba-reportile i-DA ku-principal. So they had to go there. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see, right? I want to say that. And then on the other hand, now you have abantu go TikTok and everywhere, pretty much social media, bakhuluma FF Plus, bakhuluma so asazi, anything can happen this year. So is it possible that we might see the DA together with the FF Plus, NC totally sidelined? Is it possible we might see either more progressive or leftist parties after no EFF, that group and that cohort? Is it possible ukuthi sobabona nabo, can they rise? Is it possible be no MK? How much MK how will it do MK even this year? Because I think I'm a municipal this year as a 2026. I think I'm a municipal votelo masipala anini are late this year. Yo, they're very late. Like it's like wait, 20 Monday 2 November, Monday 2. Oh, bakayishi dates, but they're pretty much going to be next year, of which is very interesting because this is the year leading up to the election, right? Of which is when I'm a politician, they really start playing a game. Baqala service delivery bengcono, and they start talking the sweet talk and right, and they start taking a risk as well, short-term risks, so that but we need vote for next year. So that's one thing. So that involves around geopolitics. Elections is geopolitics. How are we interacting with every other nation, right? We saw last year tariffs. The companies are affected by tariffs, right? Simply because the ANC does not want to play ball with Trump. Simply because of that. Because They're holding a Manama summit, Putin. They're doing a drills in Iran. We're doing this, we're doing that, right? Number two, also, America, they're also going to have their own elections this year, right? So I think it's called by-elections, that side. Um, yeah, I'm Americans. Are they still feeling Trump? Are we still? Is the culture still feeling Trump over faith? What are we doing? Um, he's pretty much poking everyone. Yahlupho Trump. He's one of those old men. He's really at a point where he's approaching 90, and he really couldn't give two shit. How old is Trump? Trump age? Yeah, he's 80, bruh. Kugile umkhulu, kugile izandla zihlaza manje. Kugile umkhulu. So he really couldn't give two fucks. These are two people. The demeanor yabo, I would say, is totally different. This is This guy on the left, he was daring and everything. He didn't give two fucks. But this one on the right, is more dangerous. Because manje akasena lutho. I mean, he's a billionaire. He's got billionaire friends. His kids, some of them are probably low-key billionaires making deals with the Middle East countries, UAE and them. So Trump doesn't care, but will he complete the full term is what's important, and that's what our Americans would be deciding later on as well. When are elections at US elections 2026? Let's see. They're usually late, like about November now. So elections are scheduled to be held in the United States in large part on November 3, 2026. In this US midterm election scheduled to occur during Republican President Donald Trump's second term, all 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and 35 of the 100 seats in the U.S. Senate would be contested to determine the 120th U.S. Congress. Oh, I guess it's for Congress. It's not 39 state and territorial U.S. gubernatorial elections, as well as numerous state and local elections, will also be contested. So I guess it has to do with our policies, because the more our ops Trump efika parliament, the more is this fun and Venezuela would be harder to do, I guess, right? Because even the taking of Venezuela didn't go to Congress, right? When it goes to Congress, will it pass? We don't know. We will see. And even when it doesn't pass, uzotshela uTrump ukuthi inyongo lento ayenzayo. It's one of those situations. Number two, US elections. Number one is elections, right? SA and US elections. Number two, Trump wars. We need to look out for Trump. Like at this point, he's almost invoking war, right? And I think at this point, everyone is seeing the writing on the wall. Today China and Iran were doing drills here in South Africa. We're going to discuss that later. But Trump, he took Venezuela last week, right? And right now, ufuna ukuthatha Greenland, right? He wants to take Greenland. Let's look at this, for example. Oh my God, bro. $9 a month for a streaming app. They do this every time. Okay, here we go.
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
Mr. President.
I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
You see,
and by the way,
you see, that's the thing. That right there, that is power. That is what's called power, you know? Like Africa, or if you're weak, there's power. I don't care whether you want to debate immorality. You can debate immorality. You can debate the law. I mean, I said it again on the other video I made. Uguti, you know, powerful people and powerful nations, they just take, right? They do what they can. And then victims or people like quote unquote Greenland in this instance, unfortunately, they do what they can or what they must, what they can live with. Powerful people do what they can, right? And those who are quote unquote weak, the ones who are taken advantage of, they do what they must because they have no choice. And that's just it. Muzu uthini nomkhulu? Mlalele mhlamba
I
umzwa.
might talk about that. Right. I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
Simple.
China as a neighbor. Okay?
Simple.
I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too. I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. Sure, we had lots of boats go there also.
Oh, the irony, man. The irony. That's another thing. Just because they landed a boat there 500 years ago, does not mean they own the land. Bushel Trump. Right?
I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. Sure, we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. President, why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And with a nation, look at what happened with Obama with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. Not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President.
So, this all comes from one thing, by the way. This all comes from, there's something called the Monroe Doctrine, right? The Monroe Doctrine, it comes from, so Monroe was a president. He was an American president years and years ago, colonial time presidents, one of those. When they used to be slaves, slaves, right? But Monroe's doctrine, like ukuyibeka simply, he said the superpowers must basically divide the world. And there is a way that they can divide the world. So I'm looking for an article. There's an article somewhere here. I was looking at just the other time. So Monroe, it was about how do superpowers split the world and how do they split colonies, basically, right? So he was saying the West will stay in the West, right? And it originated from a threat, right, of European colonies or European colonizers like Abo Portugal and Spain, who used to have a lot of colonies, which is why you see a lot of countries that have got nothing to do with Portugal ekhuluma Portuguese njengoba nathi sikhuluma isilungu nje, or even countries that have got nothing to do with Spain ekhuluma Spain, right? So yaqala lapho le ndaba. It was about that ukuthi how do we protect our colonies from other European, especially the western side of the world, right, where America is located, like the South Americas, where there's oh man, I missed this. So okay, I'm looking for a map though. So there's a map that clearly shows the divide. Ukuthi kukhulunywa ngani, makukhulunywa ngale shandisi. Because so Trump is saying we must go back to that, right? We must go back to the Monroe Doctrine. IRussia neChina abahambe baye ngale bayodlala nabangani babo in the east, of which includes Africa, which includes Europe. Yeah, there we go. There it is. So this is like a map sort of thing, right? So it kind of divides umhlaba kawu-2. Abangala, bangala, abangala, bangala. So usho njalo Trump wants to go back to this. That's why ethatha Venezuela to begin with, because mawubuka Venezuela, okay, here we go. There's this. Okay, something like this. Yeah. There's the map right there. Let's see. Man. My website, man, and my map, they get too slow sometimes. Yeah, this is the website I was looking for. Right. Sharp. So they sort of divided like this, right? They're dividing it in such a way that also west to say west, also east to say east. Right? It's really that simple. So that's why, because if you look at that, the Caribbean, on top of the Caribbean there, right below the Caribbean, that's where Venezuela is, on top of South America. Venezuela is at the top of South America. Venezuela is the equivalent of Egypt here in Africa, right? That's Venezuela. And then America is up there in North America. And then you can see the divide that they want to talk about, like those lines in the middle, right? You can see that line, dotted line in the middle. So this is pretty much the Monroe Doctrine. This is what Trump is talking about. So he's saying, he doesn't mind Russia. If Russia touches Africa, and I mean, and all the Western countries, because he's almost falling out with all the Western, European leaders as well. He called them stupid. That's the other thing. Trump akanandaba at this point. Uchabu akanandaba. So I want to read a passage. So in December 1823, President Monroe issued a statement that became known as the Monroe Doctrine. Monroe said that the Americas were closed to further colonization. Monroe said that the Americas were closed to further colonization. So Monroe said no more. Right? If y'all motherfuckers wanna colonize there. Colonize each other, laugh or go Persia, go Saudi Arabia, go Egypt, do it. If you wanna take South Africa, you can take it. You know, if you wanna take Africa, you can take it. Nah, you know what I'm saying? But the Americas, they are closed off to further colonization. He also warned that European efforts to re-establish colonies would be considered dangerous to our peace and safety. Let me repeat. He also warned that European efforts to re-establish colonies would be considered dangerous to our peace and safety. That's basically what Trump is saying. Kuwuthi le nto ishiwo ngesingisi esikhulu. So Monroe warned, he warned among European countries, right? Ukuthi, if you try to establish any colony here in this territory, in the Americas, what you're doing would be considered dangerous to our peace and safety. So if you do something this dangerous to someone's peace and safety, that only means one thing: wartime, bruh. So they're ready to go to war to defend their territories. That's what Trump is saying, and that's why he's saying he needs Greenland. That's why he's saying they had to take Venezuela, because he needs to control the Americas. Because going back to the Monroe Doctrine. So to the yellow part, it says, the occasion has been judged proper for asserting as a principle in which the rights and interests of the United States are involved, that the American continents, by the free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintain, are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European powers. By free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintain, are henceforth not to be, American continents, by the free and independent condition. So he was saying no more. Anizi la, angeke nidle la, sidla sodwa la madoda. Ama-colonies ethu lawa. If you wanna colonize, go somewhere else. Right? So finally, he promised the white part. He promised that the United States would stay out of European affairs. The Monroe Doctrine showed that the United States saw itself as a world power and protector of Latin America. Because Greenland is up there as well. Like North America, if you go up, all the way, North America is up there. Let's see, where is Greenland? Greenland in America. Let's see. Yeah, so I think that's the right part. Oh yeah, there we go. You see, Greenland is up there at the end, and at the corner there. That's Greenland, and then there's USA in the middle, right? And then there's South America at the bottom, like bottom right. So you look at this, and then you look at where Greenland is. It's almost at the far right. It's almost at the Arctic, is it? Yeah. So they want to take all of that. Bashir the East to Chinese, or to China and Russia and everyone else, right? So number 3 are commodities, gold and oil. I think I spoke a lot about commodities. So if Trump and USA is unstable as it is, right, quote unquote, according to investors and other nations in the world. So what people tend to happen, or what investors tend to do, is they look for alternative ways to put their money aside, right? So alternative ways usually involve gold, right? So if ungathenga US dollar, like uthenga ama-bonds ase-US, like Japan is the biggest holder of ama-bonds ase-US, right? So if you're not buying ama-bonds, and Trump is now unstable and doesn't want to work with everybody else in the world, he just wants to do his own thing. So people tend to look to commodities like silver, like gold. And then of course another thing to look this year will be oil. Like oil is trading at like what, $57 or something. Last time I checked, Trading Economics. So there's this my website thing is 70 size. It's called Trading Economics. So let's see how much is oil. Yeah, $59. So that's one thing to look forward to, right? Because what will happen now that America has Venezuelan oil? And by the way, the funny thing is that American companies apparently do not want to. American companies do not want to work, or they don't want to take Venezuelan oil yet. At least they're not ready to invest because Venezuelan oil is thick and ufuna imali eningi mawufuna uku-investa kona. Like who processor takes a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time. And it needs a lot of money, so it's thick and it's dirty and I was actually watching a video about it. But before that, there's a video about power, because I talk about power earlier on and about America and when he says he wants to take Greenland. So this is I wonder if I won't get blocked on this. This is from Game of Thrones. I'm a Game of Thrones guy.
Yes.
The Mockingbird.
This is power.
You created your own sigil, didn't you?
Yes.
Appropriate for a self-made man with so many songs to sing.
I'm glad you like it. Some people are.
Bruh, look at how he touches his thing, bruh. Look at how she touches. Look at how she... You know what umuntu ukuthatha kancane mfethu ukala ngamehlo njengamanzi ophuthu. This is it. This female, bruh. Ayimkala ngamehlo njengamanzi ophuthu uLord Baelish. Anyways, look at how she's holding that thing, bruh. It's like, oh, your little tie. Like, oh, shame. I see you.
Bird. You created your own sigil, didn't you?
Yes.
Appropriate for a self-made man with so many songs to sing.
I'm glad.
This lady is born from a rich family. Like her father is balling out of control. She's the richest man in the world in this story, in this series. For those that has a Game of Thrones, I don't know which rock you've been in or you've been living under. I'm plugging you. Go watch it. But she's from a rich family, like super wealthy family. And Imane is self-made, right? He rose from the ranks and he created his own family. So this small bird is like his own family's sigil. They call it a sigil, but it's like a sign or a logo per se. You can call it that these days. So he created his own family. Then, so if we swap Gamhlong, then we're gonna have our own logo. So we're not branded. So she's sort of mocking that thing. You did well for yourself. I mean, look at your small bird in your neck and everything. But look at this. Look at this.
Do you like it? Some people are fortunate enough to be born into the right family. Others have to find their own way.
I heard a song once about a boy of modest means. Found his way into the home of a very prominent family. He loved the eldest daughter. Sadly, she had eyes for another.
When boys and girls live in the same home, awkward situations can arise. Sometimes I've heard even brothers and sisters develop certain affections.
Bombshell. The thing about it is, where it gets twisted, she was in an incest relationship with her brother. I know. Let's just skip past that. But he's mocking him about that, basically. Because I think they're sort of bantering each other, you know, and he's sort of stabbing her back. But then udlala kakhulu umjida. I think wafuqa wadlala kakhulu, you know. Noma udlala ngeqiniso. Fuck around, you find out.
And when those affections become common knowledge, well, that is an awkward situation. Indeed, especially in a prominent family. Prominent families often forget a simple truth. I found.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
So this guy rose through the ranks through knowledge, scheming, backstabbing abantu, sending ama-spies to do this and do this and that's how he knows ukuthi this chick is in an incest relationship with with her brother, in fact, right? So he's saying knowledge is power. That's what he's saying. Because he knows things and he gets to blackmail people like it with all the information he gathers.
How much truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
Seize him.
Oh shit.
Cut his throat.
Oh shit, nah. Nah.
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Oh, wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power. Do see if you can take.
Power is power. Not information, not technology, nothing. Power is power. And usually when you have power, you look at what she did here. There's only one thing she did, and that's one thing she did to demonstrate her power. She did not scream. She did not run to the law and say, this man is insulting me. What did she do? Look at this.
Seize him.
Call the army, man. Seize Maduro. Seize him. Umthatheni bafana banomlanda. Ngonika amabhano yawu-6. Ngonika amabhano yawu-6. Neemoto eziwu-5 ehamba phansi mfethu. Manithatha insizwa nje ithe ukuqina. Thatha insizwa eseyiqinile ezwaziyo umsebenzi. In and out. Seize him. Nibuye naye. Then sithatha u-oil wakhe.
Cut his throat. Stop. Oh, wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go.
I've changed my mind. Let him go. This is Maduro. This is Maduro. And this could be Greenland. And it could be South Africa as well. Or Ramaphosa popping nonsense or running the lip service like they're doing. Like, as much as it's okay to stand your ground, but you need military. Because that's what backs you up eventually. You need a military and you need to know how to fight. And you need to be ready to fight. Because that's how you seize power. That's how these people seize power. I mean, that's how they control this power in this quote-unquote, in this story, in this kingdom. And that's what Trump means when he said, we either going to do it the easy way.
The hard way.
Either the easy way or the hard way. It's really that simple. You choose. So, those are commodities. So when this happens, commodities tend to spike. So let's watch out for that. Number 4 is definitely going to be AI. Things are changing. Automation is changing. The way we do work is changing. So even the jobs as ones are changing in 2026, and they're going to change more, right? They're also going to change the ways investors are corner, and the companies that are here in njengamanje, some of them, they won't be here 20 years from now. Like the companies that are here now, they won't be here 20 years from now, 30 years from now, because companies that are here now, some of them, or companies that were here 30 years ago before kufika technology, like 50 years ago before kufika technology, kube Bill Gates and everything, there's tons of companies that went obsolete, right? And there's tons of people who had invested in those companies, and they thought, this is my retirement. Gonna hold this company till I'm dead, probably give it to my kids, you understand? But it didn't happen. The company goes bust, Enron goes bust. A lot of .com companies went bust in 2008, right? So AI is also going to affect industries the same way. Remember, we talked about determining your goals in the 5 steps on how to invest in 2026, right? That sort of thing. if we have a long-term goal of investing 30 years, you need to factor in AI. Which sort of companies are aligning themselves to doing the right things or thinking the right way about AI, using it the right way, not burning cash and firing people unnecessarily, for example, that sort of thing. So yeah, those are 4 things you look out for this year. Number 1 is elections, either as a US or akhona like South Africa. Number 2 is what is Trump doing? Is he going to take Greenland? What is he going to do with Venezuelan oil as well? You need to watch out for that. Number 3 are commodities, gold, oil, and silver, and the like. All those there's a lot of commodities. Do the research and find out how does it interact with everything else, right? Because if oil goes from, for example, 59 rand, someone was saying oil has been the same price, but isn't a change. And number 4 is AI, before I get out of control. Number 1, elections, Trump wars, commodities, and then AI. But someone was saying crude oil is $59 for a while. It's been raging at 59, but nothing is happening. Petrol away, things are still costing the same they cost. But the minute you see this number jump up to 75, everything will start getting expensive. So that affects even imali yakho. That's available to invest, right? Because your transport is gonna go up if you taxi. Your rent is probably gonna go up next year or whenever, that sort of thing. That's how commodities affect us. Some of us, if Google invest, but they can affect you indirectly. The money you have, disposable income for you to invest, it shrinks if oil goes up, because pretty much everything goes up. Dollar goes up and everything like that. But then you can also benefit if you're an investor, because if ukudla goes up dollar and ShopRite raises prices, you can probably guess that ShopRite is also going to print money as well, right? It's not always straightforward like that, but you can think of it like that. It's a give and take. If you're a consumer, high oil prices are not good, but if you invested in some companies that know how to absorb a high cost of oil, you can come out right as an investor. Right.